let us know if you can hear us and see us okay, and then we'll jump right into it. It's gonna be an interesting stream today. We're gonna talk about update 17.1, but we're just waiting for some confirmation that you can hear us and see us just fine. Hear you loud and clear.
Hey.
Thank you so much for letting us know. Great, so welcome to our dev stream. My name is Forsythia and I'm the Senior Community Manager for Vigor. We've got two lovely guests with us today, Michal, who is the Senior Technical Designer, and we've got Tony, who is our Marketing Specialist.
Good to yours.
Alright, let's see. Apparently the audio is a little bit quiet, but I think that everything should be functioning just fine, I hope. So yeah, just let us know. Hopefully you could just crank up your volume a little bit and
we'll see how it's gonna go.
Fine. Yeah.
At least you can hear us.
Yeah, exactly. That's better than not at all.
Yeah.
So
Although it would make for a pretty funny sequence of like 1 hour of like a mime show.
Yeah, just like
sitting
mouths talking but no sound coming out of it.
Would you have considered being a mime instead of a technical designer? You kind of did it really well, so I was kind of wondering.
What, mine?
Mime.
Oh, mime.
Mime! Not Mirren mind, but pantomime.
Mr. Mime.
I mean, now that's a career.
Alright, so for those of you who've just popped in, but also a good reminder, today we're going to be talking about update 17.1. We're going to have a live Q&A because we've just released update 17.1 today, which is a minor update featuring lots of bug fixes, and maybe I'll just briefly show the changelog, which is available on our website. We've got some interesting additions, like we've got new arenas for Mirren, so there were 2 arenas beforehand, and now we've got 4, a total of 4, which is amazing. We've added some highly requested double XP indicators, and interestingly, some new loot source for electronics. So yeah, we've done a lot of bug fixes as well. The details can be found on our website. If you are curious where to find the update 17.1 changelog, it's actually on the same page as the update 17.0 changelog. You're just gonna have to scroll down a little bit and you're gonna see what's been fixed with this update. Alrighty then, so we're looking forward to any of your questions, any of your feedback as well, and we will be very happy to answer them. Don't forget to check out the changelog. Thank you to the moderators in the chat for sending it as well. Thank you so much. Alright. So how about we start, should we start with some gameplay? Well, can we check first if Mirren is on elimination in the rotation?
It is not.
Okay.
Not yet.
So, in that case, we're gonna start with something else, which is literally the interesting music video that came out with update 17.1, which Tony is the best person to speak about it. Just if you could walk us through the music video and the track and how it went, the process of it all, because it was a highly requested thing as well for a lot of Outlanders.
Yeah.
When they were like, can we have this whole track out, please? So
yeah, believe me, when we released the trailer and we had like the track in the trailer itself, like the feedback we got from it is people were really digging the track, and it's something that we tried, I think, for the first time to do in a trailer, is to have an original track written by people from the team. So big props to Vladimir, who is our VFX artist, and he's the one who actually wrote the song. Tomáš Bayer from audio, he's the one who produced it, mastered it, mixed it. Also Verča from audio, she did the cello sounds in it. Zuzanka did the backing vocals for that. Basically there were a lot of people involved on this trailer, on this track. Big props to everybody who participated. And yeah, we just wanted to do something very, very special for this update. Because the theme was there, the timing was perfect, you know, we had Halloween coming up, We wanted to have like a horror themed update, which was heavily requested from the community from last year's survey. Based on the data that we got. So it was a win-win, and we just decided to go all out and just like try to be as creative as possible. And once we knew that we're gonna have a full-length song as well, we knew that we had to put it out there, and what better way to do with like a music video. It's also the first time we've done a music video for
That's
a track.
true,
Yeah, it's this season was a first for a lot of things. So we're very, very happy with the result. We hope you guys enjoy the track, enjoy the video, and yeah, big props to everybody who was involved.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone involved, as Tony said. Thank you as well, Tony, for running through the nitty-gritty of how it went with the music video and the music itself. Let's see if we've got any feedback so far regarding the music video. I saw in the chat that Dizzy Online was mentioning that it was very impressed, and big kudos to those who were involved, so that's awesome.
I mean, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but we're also working for like a more of a behind-the-scenes video that should be coming out. It should be coming out pretty soon. It's the same style that the other behind the scenes videos that we put out with previous seasons, but this one you're gonna have a more of a deep dive into the process that went into making the video, making the music, making the video clip and everything. So you can stay tuned for that one, and I think it's gonna be very, very interesting for some members of the community who really enjoy these behind the scenes videos, and they get to see like a glimpse of what's going on behind game dev.
It's always really fun to see how these things actually work, because you know, with that, there's this sort of like a veil of like, you know, when we release a trailer, then we release a music video, which is like really cool and all, but then when you see like exactly like how many people were involved and whatnot, it gives you a different perspective.
And how much time it takes, honestly. How much time it takes. It's you cannot understand fully unless you're part of it. And
could you give some rough estimate of how much time it took, like from the planning? Like you could give an overall estimate, and you could try and segregate it into sections and see how much each part took, perhaps. Like
I mean, I think we started the initial brainstorming for the trailer itself when we actually like sat down with Vladimir and we discussed like, okay, so we have this season. How are we gonna show it? What are we gonna put in there, right? So that process, I think, started, I think, late August or early September. So we knew that from that point on, we had almost 2 months to make everything. That means to come up with the idea, create the storyboard, schedule the motion capture sessions, get the people involved for the audio. So all of these things that are interconnected, basically, yeah, it took about 2 months to have everything ready.
Okay, wow, that's a very long time, actually. Jeez. But I didn't even feel, because we saw, like, other members of the team saw how you all were involved in doing it, but I can't believe that it was actually about 2 months. Like, time flies really fast.
Time flies really fast, especially like when you're in the process like this and you're constantly working on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So we were like, okay, we're done with the storyboard. Now we need to move on to the motion capture. So we needed to book the motion capture studio. We need to go there, get the scenes, get the animations. Then from there, straight sent them to the animators to polish them, to configure them. Then once we have the polished animations, you get it back, you put in the engine, you start creating the scenes, you start creating the trailer. Meanwhile, we're working on the audio, we're working on the song, we need to come up with the lyrics, we need to come up with the music, and it's just like a constant back and forth until like finally it all clicks.
Yes, indeed. Wow, thank you so much. When you enumerated all of that, I realized, like I said, a lot of us saw the process, but having to actually go through it is quite a long ride, and the fact, like, you know, so you've listed down all of those things, but of course all of those tasks have subtasks, have subtasks and then subtasks and then
obviously. And then there's sometimes some unexpected things could happen. Like, for example, somebody's on vacation, they cannot work on it at that point in time when you need it, so you need to find somebody else who's willing to work on that thing, or somebody might be sick, or any number of reasons that could just like put a bit of a pause on the project, and that's basically precious time that you can't afford to waste.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally
But
fair.
you know, that's at the end of the day, that's kind of game dev. You know, like.
I mean, that happens technically in every single department.
I'm pretty sure in your department there's also like situations like that.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, well, obviously we kind of with this specific example, I would say we work slightly on a different timeline, because by the time you guys work on a trailer and you guys work on all these marketing materials surrounding that, we've already basically done most of our work, because that needs to be prepared up front, obviously. So it technically, in a sense, it's not right to say that we have a buffer, because we don't really have a buffer. But
it's just you're working on different timelines.
Yeah. But then you approach it a little bit differently when you need to compensate for these kind of know, situations, for these kind of events. Because when something happens, when, for example, what can happen is like someone from your team is sick and they were working on this feature, and now you don't know when they're gonna be back, and you have to have that feature ready in a week, for example. You have to balance things out. You have to compensate for it, but on the different timeline, we still have possibilities. We still can find different solutions, and I suppose that's also kind of a fun of that in a sense.
You're like living on the edge.
Yeah.
Literally.
I mean, I'm sorry, man. I had to say it how I saw it. Like, you like living on the edge. And
I mean, no, it's fair. Like, we're trying to do a lot of things here. I mean, and specifically generally in terms of Vigor, we've already mentioned a couple times that we are working on a lot of stuff. Some of that we've already hinted. Some of that we haven't hinted yet. And so there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and ultimately what comes out in an update is part of that. But we want to deliver it as best as we can, right? And so that involves all of these teams working together, but also kind of separately, and dealing with all kinds of situations, whether expected or unexpected.
It's kind of hard when you put it into that way, that every team works on their own kind of thing, but at the same time, we're interconnected and we're working together. There's this like very delicate balance that you need to maintain between the teams and between the departments, like internally, but also within the project between each of the departments. There's a very, very thin line of a balance that you need to maintain. So yeah, like that's a bit of a nitty gritty of like some behind the scenes that's going on here.
And some of that will be, available.
Yes,
a little bit later.
Soon. TM.
Yeah. We've actually got some love in the YouTube chat for the song. They thought it was amazing.
Thank you, YouTube chat.
Thank you
we love
so
you.
much. We actually have some. Well, let me check the Facebook chat first before moving on. Let's see. Okay, we've got some people saying hi in the Facebook chat in the meantime. Alright, just to briefly reiterate that we released update 17.1 today, and oops, I'm gonna scroll up. Here's a changelog. We had some new additions because our minor updates are more focused on fixes. This one was more on fixes and less on adding new things, but we still did add some new things anyway, which are new arenas for Miran in Elimination. So we have a total of 4 arenas now instead of 2. And
additional arenas, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And to quote one of our community managers earlier on today, yes, 2 + 2 does make 4.
Who would have known?
And it's up to you to check if we're right.
Yeah, I think that's...
Go and play that elimination.
I think that someone had asked it on
in
our
14 minutes.
Yeah, well, here's hoping that Miran will be up next on the rotation.
He's gonna get Fiska.
Yeah.
And then in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We got a question in our chat from JK Chappers. When will there be news about Legacy Season Battle Passes and cosmetics? It seems to be universally liked. Yeah, so we were discussing it in our previous streams, and if you've missed it, then we'll just rehash it for you. We still do plan on disabling Legacy Seasons in the future, but it will definitely be there until the end of this year. We still plan on letting you all know one season in advance when we are going to be disabling it. And, well, it's almost December. It's still November, but it's almost December. And you can expect Legacy Seasons to still be there for this season and also the next season, because if it wouldn't be there the next season, then we would have already told you by now. So,
True.
they're still gonna be there. We decided to take a little bit more time with polishing other things, so that's why it's still there to stay, and we still plan on letting Outlanders grind for other things in the Outlands in the future once we disable Legacy Seasons, so don't worry about that. Hopefully that answers your question. We've mentioned it a couple of times as well in our previous streams, and if you are active on our social media, especially like Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and TikTok or Instagram, if you ask those questions, you're most likely to get the similar response.
There's a lot of stuff brewing in the background, a lot of cauldrons brewing and whatnot. So yeah, sort of like a little fall off from Halloween stuff, But yeah, there's stuff that we're working on, and as we've mentioned, we will let you know once we're going to be actually touching the Legacy Seasons. It is the intention, but for now, they're in the way that they are right now.
Yes.
Oh, if I may,
Yes,
I just
you can.
noticed Tiny pointed out that one of the things that we've added, which again, not necessarily typical for an update, which is mostly focused on fixing and polishing stuff, but it was somewhat recently that we've realized that, when you loot in the Outlands, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can find, including certain lootables that are specific for particular resources. So, for example, you have the gas canister for fuel, you have the bottles for chemicals, and the bags of fertilizer for fertilizer. And at some point we realized that we're lacking few, and so recently we've added the glass in the form of
the case of the beer bottles.
Of the beer bottles.
Yeah.
And sort of following from that, we've also realized at that point that we are lacking not only glass, which we've added in the meantime, but also electronics. And so that's one of the new additions in this update, is that right now, when you log into the game and you go into encounters, you will be also able to find specific loot source for electronics. So keep an eye out for old style boomboxes. Well, it's not quite a boombox. It's a small radio, but yeah, if you find it and you loot it, you're gonna get a bunch of electronics. So hopefully that's gonna be a cool little nice thing.
I'm sorry, but like every time you say boombox, I'm just like thinking that song from The Lonely Island. I'm just sorry. I just had to put it out there because like I can't get it out of my head now.
That's all right. We'll...
Everyone was wearing fingerless gloves.
I mean, I suppose that's fair. Yeah, sure.
You don't need to reply. I just like put
it's
it
okay.
out there in the universe.
He put it out there, and after this stream, we're gonna listen to it because now it's gonna get stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if I'm not gonna hear it, then it's gonna get stuck. Follow-up question for Michal: Do we have plans to do the same thing for chemicals in terms of its loot source?
Well, I believe chemicals already do have the bottles.
Yes,
So,
but maybe they want a new one. Like,
I mean, do you want like a new one to replace the previous one? Do you want like update the
additional
visuals?
one, maybe?
Technically, chemicals is actually the one which actually has two such loot sources, because you can find a single bottle or you can find an entire case of bottles.
That's true.
That's
true. But
That is true.
I mean, if let's see, who was recommending it? Oh no. If Real Marito would have some suggestions on what you'd like to see if you'd like to loot chemicals out of a specific thing in the Outlands. I mean, the ideas are always great, so send it our way. We'd appreciate that.
I mean, it did. Maybe it's not intentional, but like the way I think about it now, it kind of makes sense. Like we got a new loot source for electronics, yeah, in a season that we added a cosmetic
With
the electronic like zapping. Like
Yeah.
I know it's not intentional, but like it kind of connects in a nice way.
It worked out, yeah. So unfortunately, no, you can't loot the cosmetic from other players to gain electronics, but you can loot the radios.
Yes.
Yes. There's also a follow-up question for you, Michal, because you mentioned boombox. Have you ever owned a boombox? Asks Dizzy Online.
Huh.
Have you? Did you?
I'm not entirely. I mean, maybe like in ages long forgotten, in a time where the gods were still, malevolent and angry and whatnot, then I might have. I know we've had some like stereo setups and whatnot. I'm not entirely sure if we actually had like a boombox.
Back in the day, here. You?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, not here because you're
not here.
Republic.
I mean, like the eons ago when I was spawned.
You weren't spawned that long ago. Stop
It sure feels like that.
Stop it. Enough. No more of this nonsense.
You speak in riddles, old man.
Back in my day.
We've also got a question, actually from Vigor Monster. Did anyone see the pictures of Solvorn that I tagged you in? Beautiful scenery and city layout, which could be a great map. Yes, actually, we've seen them. I've seen them at least. Let me just show them to my colleagues so that they are aware of what we're talking about.
That is pretty.
Yeah, so, I mean, why can't I click this open? But yeah, so
wow.
This is an interesting inspiration for another map, actually. It kind of gives, if we imagine that the body of water is the river in Gruntheim, it kind of gives Gruntheim vibes.
There's
I was actually thinking bridges a little bit.
Is that a church back there? Is that Fjellkanten?
Yeah, it's the church on Fjellkanten.
I mean, too many houses for Fjellkanten, and
but
not,
that
not
church
as,
though.
I mean, and not as much in the mountains, but yeah.
That is beautiful though.
Although you know what would be really great, an like idea for a map, would be like part of Bergen, so that we can also have the black metal museum in there.
Dude,
oh no, you've kickstarted it. Here we go.
Although, considering the timeline of... Right, that's true. Considering the timeline of Vigor, it wouldn't be the black metal museum yet, it would still be the old Helvete shop.
Helvete.
Yeah.
As in like devil.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was shop owned by Euronymous where he was selling records and stuff.
Okay.
And they called it Helvete.
Well, I mean, if we're doing something like this, like we gotta accompany it with like a black metal song, which means we should write a black metal song.
I mean, I'm trying to find the time to write some black metal for like years at this point.
Eons.
Yes.
I will briefly interrupt your discussion about black metal for the sake of this question that we've got in the chat regarding the weapon overhaul. What's the news with the weapon overhaul? I believe that we talked about it in our Dev Diary stream, but you don't want to hear it from me, probably. Maybe Michal would sound better mentioning it. I can do it too, but I feel like...
I mean, essentially, it's similarly to what we mentioned already lately. We are working on it. It is heavily work in progress. We're doing a lot of changes there, so there's a lot of tweaking, a lot of testing on our side, which is all internal for now until we're ready to actually have it in a state that feels good, that we're satisfied with, and that we can throw it over to you guys, which will unfortunately take some time. We're still not quite happy with what we have. We're still trying to find the perfect balance for the changes that we've done. So keep an eye out. It is coming, kind of slowly, but we're really trying to nail it. So we're getting there. I mean, a very, very vague small hint. In the meantime, there will be other stuff that we're gonna throw your way, so you can look for other improvements and whatnot.
You scared me there for a moment. I mean, like, how little is this hint? But, okay.
It's
Thank
fair
you.
enough.
Thank you. We don't want to spoil any surprises for
No.
Like,
our Outlanders.
to be fair, guys, like, we know this is taking longer than you would want and we would want as well.
Yeah.
If it was, like, ideal, it would have been out by now, but it's not ideal. Things happen and things take longer sometimes, unfortunately. We do apologize for making you wait longer than you should, but we would rather take a bit more time just to make sure 100% that the feature is polished, it's ready, it's good to go, rather than like half baked and put it out there and just like keep patching things as we go. So we would rather take a bit more time, make it complete, make it nice, and then push it out there.
Exactly. Like, especially with a feature that is so crucial to the entire gameplay.
Yes.
I mean, the whole idea behind this is that it should be an improvement to the overall feel and the overall flow of the game. So we want to really make sure that what we release is going to be an improvement to what we have right now. And like I said, that we're really happy with how it fits and how it integrates into the rest of the gameplay and into the rest of the features. So we want to make sure that we don't, rush it too much, and give you something that neither of us will be happy. So,
And I would just quickly like to address this part regarding the weapons. Maybe just remove some weapons. That actually would not be too ideal in the overall picture, because Michal mentioned.
I think in some of our earlier brainstorms that might have actually been floated as an idea, and ultimately we kind of decided to stray away from it because it actually introduces a lot of other issues that we would need to deal with. And ultimately that is that once we actually find a good balance and once we actually rework the system in ways we want it to work, we hope that all weapons will be relevant in their own way, still, respecting certain, gameplay elements that we have in the game, but we ultimately decided not to go in that direction.
Yeah, and I mean, we also have to think about it in a way that there are other weapons which Outlanders enjoy playing with, so we cannot just get rid of them on a whim because we decided that we wanted to do it as a short-term fix.
Yeah.
Like, it's better for us to work while looking in the long term, and this is where it's perfect to mention Tiny Online's comment. Prefer it to come out complete than half done.
Exactly.
Obviously,
exactly.
we do as well. That's what we want as well.
Exactly. Yep. And Marback is saying, I appreciate the honest answer regarding the weapon overhaul. You're most welcome. I mean, we did discuss it in our recent Dev Diary stream when we released update 17.0. But I understand that it might have been a little bit of an information overload when it comes to those streams, so that's fair. And we have some interesting feedback where people are like, just don't touch this weapon or get rid of that weapon. We will be, like Michal said, we are going through each and every one of them.
So the thing is, and again, like, without going into any details, obviously, it's not just a question of rebalancing per se. We're also reworking some stuff in the background. Trying to also kind of, as among other things, optimize as well how it works on the technical level. And so with that, it's going to be inevitable for us to actually go and iterate over every single weapon. Not to mention that if we change the balance of other weapons, then even if you have a weapon that you really like and you think that it works well, it might not end up working well compared to the other weapons once they change. So with that in mind, it's one of the reasons why this is such a robust feature, such a robust overwork, or like rework or an overhaul, because it includes a lot of stuff that we need to consider and a lot of stuff that we need to do, and a lot of stuff that is affected by this. So like we said, we want to make sure that like we're happy with it, that we've considered everything that there is to consider, and that we end up polishing it to the point when we can be happy with it. So keep an eye out. It's definitely coming, and we hope that we will be able to give you more news soon.
Yes, indeed. And
Fingers crossed.
yes,
It's gonna be sooner rather than later.
Hopefully,
yeah, the team is working very hard on it, so we wanna. It's one of our priorities, so we need to definitely.
I think
push
it's
that.
just a matter of maybe the community doesn't understand like the magnitude of this undertaking.
It's possible.
Reworking the entire gunplay, and it's not just
I mean,
about.
it's one of the core pillars of the game, so that means that the moment we start touching
It is.
even rebalancing, like when we were doing that initial iterations of rebalancing, even that was a lot of work because it affects everything else, and you can't even single out, like, even when we're doing it per category, you start changing one category, but that obviously shifts the meta and starts affecting everything else, and that then actually bubbles up into other gameplay mechanics, like for example it starts affecting crafting and whatnot, because suddenly you shift priorities as players and whatnot, and this is something that we need to consider and we need to keep in mind with all of these changes, especially now that we're actually not just going category by category, but we're taking the entire system as a system. So it is truly it is something that even like I would put it like even we have a decent amount of respect going into that. So yeah, like we said, we hope to deliver something really, really good, and we really want to deliver it, as soon as we can, obviously. But like you said, like it has a really different magnitude to many other features that we're working on. So we wanna take it, at a pace where we don't end up ultimately, kind of how to put it, like it doesn't end up backfiring on us in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shooting ourselves in the leg.
Even if it.
You really used that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wonderful. Good. I wanted to say that we wanted to show off Maren's elimination arenas, but it's a bit of a shame that it's not on rotation right now. But I still think that it would be good to get in some games.
Couldn't we use like some of our magical abilities?
No, we can't. That would be not ideal. I don't think so. That's not very nice to ask. This is production, dude. Like, what? You don't test on production.
Like this, I'm not talking about testing.
Okay, yeah, but making the changes while people are on the game, like, I mean, and also, like, what if people are queuing up on other maps? But in any case, please, Tony, queue up for something that you would enjoy.
I would enjoy some elimination on Fiske Fabric,
Okay.
actually.
Okie dokie, fair enough.
Actually.
Actually, yeah, I
You were gonna say actually.
Am I a wizard?
Yeah. No, I just remembered a question that I saw earlier on about leaderboards and shootout stats.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And it was like way early, and I just wanted to mention that regarding generally shootout stats, right now the situation will actually look like, lifetime stats will look very similar or basically the same to the seasonal, and that is because once we actually rolled out the new update with the leaderboards, it included obviously shootout and elimination leaderboards as well, which weren't part of the game before, and that also means that for those game modes we weren't tracking the leaderboards before the update, which means that all of the data is actually only tracked since this update, which means that right now it's going to be 1-to-1 with the seasonal leaderboards. Obviously, next season, the seasonal leaderboards will be reset for the new season, but lifetime stats will remain there as they are. So I hope that answers that question.
Could I perhaps rope you in regarding this question on the lifetime statistics or the statistics after you kill or after someone kills you in the end screen? They really liked it because they could see the person's stats. Why did we take it out? If it's not something that's your forte, I could briefly touch upon it though. So
I mean, I suppose it was I think it was kind of like a collateral thing surrounding the changes with the leaderboards that we were doing. So because we were reworking the back end of the system, it affected some other stuff as well, including some of the UI. And I believe that this was one of those cases.
Yes.
But I also believe that like a lot of players were actually touching upon it, so it might end up being brought up with the team, and we'll see if we're gonna discuss some solution to that or something.
Yeah, because it's like you said, it's supposed to clear up any inconsistencies regarding like what stats are shown, and we discussed it with the designers actually, that it would just be more cohesive and more what's the word not just uniform in
Right.
terms of displaying statistics, because then it would mean like showing you're only viewing your own statistics in the end screen right now, and if you show the killer's stats, then you're showing lifetime stats,
That was the issue that like you were essentially seeing the momentary like the change or like the statistics from your match, but it was compared to all-time statistics, and especially because, as I mentioned, we were changing the backend as well. I think that it just ended up being it just didn't make sense for us in that moment, so it didn't make it through. But yeah, we'll see if we're going to discuss the possibilities of doing something about it. But for now, no promises.
But we thank you for your feedback. We've been receiving quite a lot of feedback like that, actually, that some Outlanders would like to see the stats of their killer. Others were even like, they would like to see other statistics too, like maybe what was the distance that they shot you from, or accuracy, damage, output, etc. So those are all interesting ideas as well, which we can gather.
I mean, definitely we can float this with the team and see if we can come up with something. Also, quick answer to Tiny. Yes, the previous rank refers to the previous time frame, essentially. So in weekly stats, it will show you stats from previous week. In seasonal, it doesn't appear yet, but next season it will actually show you the stats from previous season. Well, stats, rank positions.
There is also this interesting question. First, I would talk about this one. How about quit rate statistics? Let's see how many times people leave to get the stats they desire. Well, interestingly enough, the team actually thought of making sure that such actions would not affect, like, for example, their skill rating. Like, there are different things that you need to put into consideration when it comes to skill rating. So the statistics or the leaderboards are not as easily influenced as you may think. But, sometimes our community surprises us, and sometimes we have way too much faith in them. So if something like that does happen or does come up, please do let us know so that we can look into it. But there's this interesting other question about leaderboards, which I don't know if this is something that we would like to touch upon. First, should I read it out loud?
I mean, well, you can.
Okay. Will lifetime leaderboards require a certain amount of games played every season? It would weed out the Smurf accounts.
So with the first, or like with the question itself, the gates of having to play a certain amount of matches that you have is always relative to that particular category, which means that for week it always applies to every week, because every week the weekly leaderboards reset. Seasonal will reset every season, which means that the next season it will again have to build up to the threshold. With lifetime doesn't reset, which means that once you reach the required amount of matches played to be included in the leaderboards, you will be including the leaderboards basically forever.
We've got another. Leaderboards are a very hot topic, and I'm so glad that you're here on the stream with us to talk about it. There's someone on YouTube who's mentioning that they want an option to never see anyone else's statistics and opt out of knowing their own rank versus others' ranks.
It's kind of interesting. In all fairness, this sounds like you just want to skip the leaderboard step.
Like, just pretend like it doesn't exist and not open it up.
Kinda.
I mean, like, I understand this player's got a request, but we always like these kinds of requests and we love feedback and opinions, so if you have any ideas on how you would ideally like us to tackle your request when you say that you don't want to see anyone else's statistics except for your own, but you don't want to be able to be compared to other people, I would be really interested to hear how you would like us to tackle it. I mean, ideas are always appreciated, so feel free to let us know. We understand that you'd like to know your own statistics, but if you would like to know your own statistics without the leaderboards, it would be great to hear from you about that. And let me just check the other messages on the YouTube chat. No?
Not for that.
Okay, fair enough.
Just me dying.
Okay.
Constantly.
No.
Oh no.
Big rip.
Oh, dude, I suck at shooting. Honestly. I'm not much of a shooter. I'm a looter.
Okay, fair. Oh, we
then should try and outsource the shooting on your team members and then just loot.
Yeah. Outsourcing and then.
All right, team.
Okay.
You heard the man. Yeah. Next round, I'm looting. You're shooting.
We've interestingly got someone on Facebook mentioning that they never look at their leaderboards, which, yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, we understand that some people might not enjoy looking at leaderboards and checking out their own statistics or ranks, so...
Or maybe it's just not their thing, you know? To
exactly. They don't care about their ranking.
Grinding and, like, ranking up on the leaderboards. It's not for everybody, and we get it.
They don't care about, like, it's not a measuring contest, you know? Like, you kind of just want to have fun, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to do that.
Sure, I suppose that's valid.
And Tiny Online's got an interesting suggestion. We could probably just have a Vigor picture over the leaderboards, and you have to press a button to reveal the leaderboards. Lovely. Interesting. It was the suggestion for that person who mentioned that they don't want to see others' stats, but just their own. Okay. Oh, interesting. From the YouTube chat, can players have the option to turn on original map symbols in settings, because the old exit logo is very iconic to Vigor, and we should have the right to use and retain it. That's interesting.
Wait, what was that again?
Like, if you could, like, change... If you could have a setting in the game where you could change the UI, the map icons into the older version because they missed the old exit icons.
I see.
That would be interesting, but I'm not sure if that's something we will work on.
I think the issue with that is that, and again, this is one of the fun little nice intricacies of working with games when you're like, oh, okay, so you know, we can change the icon on the map, which is cool, and you know, at this point it might seem like a fairly easy thing to also create some sort of a toggle in the settings where you can switch between one or the other, but then we also realized that the icon that's on the map is actually also used in a couple other contexts, like for example the decals in the maps themselves. Also, there are several you know, pictures in loading screens and whatnot that use that icon. So I would actually say that it's from a technical standpoint of view, this would be very, very not trivial to actually implement.
Interesting. Okay.
We're getting somewhere.
Yeah, we are. We are. That's why I was like, interesting. Not normal interesting, it's interesting. Well, okay, wait. There was, when they mentioned having a Vigor picture in front of the leaderboards, maybe it would be good to have a picture of Michal with a surprise face. That's gonna be
Or
fun.
this face.
Oh, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I think someone took a screenshot of that, or I don't know if you actually have a proper photo of that somewhere. I don't remember. I feel like there's definitely a photo view of that somewhere.
What, that metal pose?
Him, specifically, with that metal pose and the face that he specifically does.
I think, like...
Or maybe I've just seen it way too often.
If somebody tells me Michal,
memory.
like, that's the pose that I think of instantly in my head. Just
so
like,
it's not just me. No, but like, he also has to do the funny face, you know, the specific one.
Yeah, this one.
That one. So
Yeah.
it's probably that I've seen it way too many times that it's forever etched into my memory as an
Same
image.
here.
So maybe you don't have a real photo of it, but okay.
I guess I'm sorry.
No, don't be. It's alright. That's your identity, dude. And interestingly, we also had an Outlander in the chat mention that they got their super long message deleted. Yeah, it's because the bot has a limit that your messages should be under 300 characters so that it doesn't flood the chat. But I found it, and it says, in the post-match debrief, or like the end screen, have you considered showing a player path that shows where you spawned, and it highlights your actions from the match, where you opened a time safe, or killed an Outlander, used as a comm station, looted the airdrop, etc. It could be a nice way to show the journey that you went throughout that encounter.
Kind of like a replay or like a highlight of your game.
Yeah, like just the mini-map and then like your pathing, you know? I think that would be
your
cool.
highlights, basically.
I do actually like that.
Heat map.
That is a good idea.
Heat map of the game you played. That's actually
I have a little bit of like a developer dichotomy at this point, because I kind of like the idea, but I don't like the idea of implementing that.
Because you know that you're gonna have to do
I mean,
it.
like it's cool, but I already see like all the issues that can arise from that, which I mean, it sounds interesting.
We could bring it up with the rest of the team, see what
Yeah,
they think,
sure,
and like
sure.
how like easily or difficult it would be to implement. I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
feasibility
yeah.
is everything.
Like the least we can do is definitely bring it up with the team, and that's what we do with like a lot of your guys' requests for things that we wouldn't think of, and sometimes we get some suggestions from the community about some like cool features, something like this, for example, and we're like, wow, like we didn't think about it.
Oh,
Might as well
seriously,
bring
yes.
it up with the team, discuss
I mean,
it,
we
and
also
see what
have,
happens.
and I think this was mentioned even maybe a couple times. I think even like last time, I think maybe Wishy or someone mentioned it as well, that we actually have quite regular feedback meetings with
Yes.
all of the team, like all like the leads of departments and whatnot, where we actually exchange all of that stuff, like general feedback, if you guys report any issues, if you guys come up with any ideas. So we do share that with the rest of the team. We are, for the most part, aware of the stuff that you throw at us. So if you have any ideas, keep them coming, because it also gives us the information to see what you guys generally like, what you don't like. So that's also really, really cool. But yeah, we can, with this idea, we can definitely at least mention it, and we'll see if the rest of the team will also be into that.
We also have a question. In the last streams, you were asked this, but do you consider making for the seasonal challenge a reward where you could get a golden tracksuit? We did have discussions with the team about it. We're not promising anything, but we definitely know that it's a highly requested thing, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see what the future holds.
Golden tracksuit.
Yeah, it's been a long requested.
It's, yeah, I can see why.
And then there's this interesting comment here. Can you guys fix the reload and open doors, etc.? When I try to open the door, I reload. Why? Hold X to reload, tap X to open doors. I think, yeah, well...
It's been an issue, like...
But it's... okay, so here's the two sides. I don't think it's an issue, personally. I think you just need to properly... Like, I know that the Outlands can be fast-paced, but it would probably be a good idea if you don't look at the door with the X prompt there and then try to reload, because then you're gonna open the door when the X prompt is right in front of you to open the door.
I mean, the same issue then arises with basically any lootables, and there you actually have some where you have to hold the button, not just press the button. So you already have a bit of an issue there. I think, well, it's generally the idea of limited input possibilities on a controller, so yeah, some compromises have to be made.
Yes, indeed. But, like, I understand why some people have an issue with it, because they're, like, in the heat of the moment, there's adrenaline going through their veins, and, well, maybe not in-game, but in real life, you know?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that happens to me as well, and even in other games, like, I especially, like, when I'm playing on PC and I remap always some sort of actions, like throw a grenade or whatever, to, like, the 4th and 5th button on my mouse, and then I always forget which one of those two is that. So then I end up going to reload and I just throw a grenade or something like that. So that's also fun. But yeah, I get that idea. I'm
Like,
not sure
we
if there's
understand,
I'm not sure
but-
if there's much we can do actually about it. Like you might see it as a solution to change it to hold, but then you're gonna be in situations when you're still gonna have that issue with something else. So we can try and have a look at it, but really
we're
I
not
don't
sure.
think there's really a good solution there, unfortunately.
What if we could melee the doors open? Yes, but there might be some Outlanders who would prefer to be sneaky. So, are you suggesting that as an option to open the door? Like, aside from pressing X to open the door, you could also just melee the door, like, kind of kick it down, or?
I think that's an option. Like, I mean, imagine someone that would just by default open every single door by just kicking them.
I mean, I feel like that would be you in an alternate universe, but... Don't even say I wasn't right. Tony knows what's up.
I'm not saying anything.
While
I'm just here minding my own elimination game here. Don't mind.
I mean, while I can see where you're coming from, that requires too much physical activity.
I mean, you're gonna have to get to your kitchen somehow.
Fun thing, I actually don't have a door in a kitchen, I just have a doorway.
Okay.
Which is very convenient.
Lame.
It makes it very easy to go get snacks.
Nah. Oh, and we have an Outlander on the chat saying that they've been contacting us about their account constantly. Why do I feel like I'm getting no help? We're really sorry to hear about that.
Sorry, man.
Could you perhaps elaborate a little bit on what's going on with your account? Look, it's possible that if you've already reached out to us, and if it was a specific kind of issue, we would have probably recommended you to reach out to our support team. And our support team has a lot of, requests from different departments as well, so it might take some time. But, oh, I've sent full emails with everything. Okay, so, it sounds like you've been sending emails to our support team, and they are taking care of other Outlanders issues too, so it may take some time for them to get back. So we're really sorry it's taking some time, but definitely it will get there. Thank you for your patience, and I'm really sorry that it's taking some time. What is the current situation with crossplay? We still want it. We're still gonna work towards it.
We are looking into it. The thing about crossplay is it's a huge endeavor that involves a lot of things that need to be either implemented or correlated or, interconnected. I think it could be as big as a weapons overhaul, maybe even bigger if we're talking about the systems that need to be implemented and interconnected and everything.
We'll see. At this point, it's something that idea has been floated actually many times with the team. We're investigating the options of what we can do about it. So once we actually know anything, once we're ready to do anything about it, we'll let you know.
I'm checking out the YouTube chat meanwhile, and they're saying that it would be they would add them. I'm sorry, it's the end of the day. Are you guys planning on letting us customize your controller layout?
Bruh. Lost my head.
Oh, rip. Oh,
legit lost my head there.
Rip. We currently aren't planning on adding button remapping, but I know that there are, on specific consoles you can remap your buttons. I know that some of our PlayStation partners have been giving advice on that in terms of, button remapping, but as a team I don't think we're working on such a feature right now. And some interesting feedback. The current format for selecting a gun is more cumbersome now that the guns are arranged in subgroups. Can we have an option to view our guns the old way? Interestingly, we added those subcategories because they were requested by the community, but I understand that more options equals better. So
yes.
I guess it would be cool to have an option to view it in categories or just view it as a list on its own. So thank you for that idea.
I mean, that gave me another idea, but I'm not gonna tell what.
You can tell us afterwards.
I'm gonna tell y'all, but I'm not gonna tell y'all.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
It is what it is.
Okay. Let's see. Any chance that resources can come back into gold crates? I think that, well, we have a resource crate, which is probably the better place to get resources. I understand though that there were some people who enjoyed like that they could get a ton of fuel through gold crates. I think that you could still get some resources, just not as abundantly as before.
I think you can also get a resource crate from gold.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. So
Yeah.
I forgot about that, and that's
So basically, the resource crate is a blue rarity. So that means you can get that kind of a rarity from up to 2 tiers higher. So that means a gold crate can drop a blue rarity crate, or a purple rarity crate can drop up to like a green rarity crate. In the pool of
exactly
of rewards.
Yeah. Oh, and there's this interesting suggestion: more gestures, more weapon attachments or sights. More gestures is interesting. We heard that recommendation or feedback from our Outlanders a while back, and we're playing with the idea and seeing if we could go somewhere with that, but no promises.
Do you guys in chat have any like specific ideas on what kind of gestures you would like to see
Yeah, that would be
in the
cool.
future? Like that could
That is a brave question.
Yeah, like it's just like so we can get an idea of what the community would like to see. Obviously, we'll take it into consideration, and then we'll see what we can do. But it's always good to start off somewhere in a direction, rather than going blind. I mean, I would love to see some like wrestling gestures, or like from like old
Oh yeah.
80s wrestling WWE style of things, Hulk Hogan doing his like like this.
Okay.
I'd like to see some stuff like that.
But what do you guys want to see?
Yes.
Just let us know. And the second part was about weapon attachments and sights. We aren't planning on adding weapon attachments right now, mostly because we've got like a myriad of weapons to choose from, so hopefully and ideally you would be able to find a weapon that makes you feel happy when you use it, depending on the sight and such. Oh, and the person who said that they've been sending us emails followed up. So yeah, it looks like they've been sending emails to our support team, and they've been experiencing the error 0 issue. Yeah, that's an interesting one, because our team's looking into that, and it's strange because it's only affecting a handful of people. Like, our team can't seem to currently find what exactly is causing it. That's why the investigation is still ongoing. And it would be very helpful. Like, I know this is tough because you can't get your Vigor ID if you can't enter your shelter, and you can't enter your shelter if you keep on having the error zero issue. So we're really sorry about that, but our team's looking into it, and we hope that we'll have some answers soon, and we'll let the community know in case we find any solutions. So we're really sorry about that. I mean, it seems kind of account specific, but it's not. We can't prove anything just yet because we're trying to figure it out still. So, and how did the time pass by so quickly? It's It's almost 6.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding, dude.
Dude.
It's 5:59.
Bruh.
Let's see. Okay. Gesture where you play some music. Synced emotes.
Gesture where you play some music. As in like air guitaring,
But
air
like-
drumming,
But it has to
air
play
DJing.
music. Yeah, it has to play music though.
Okay.
So you come up with your own beat and then
Beatboxing.
yeah.
Just do this.
But with actual beatboxing sounds.
Oh, we could do the emote from 8 Mile.
Oh yeah. Well, that would be interesting. We've got some other
Some
emote
mom
ideas.
spaghetti emote.
Mom's spaghetti.
Mom's spaghetti.
Oh.
So you're gonna be eating mom's spaghetti, but you don't want the aftermath of it, right? Like, we don't want the aftermath of mom's spaghetti. It's okay. There are other emote ideas. Sorry emote, crying emote, fart emote, excited waving.
I wonder what the fart emote is gonna look like. You just like squat a little bit and just like squeeze your hands together.
Ever so slightly.
Ever so slightly.
Yeah. I mean, they also said funny gestures, so... But the fart mode would be funny.
I mean...
Or just something like this.
Like, ooh, oh yeah, that would be interesting. You know what? We need to wrap up because it's the end of our work day and also the end of the stream, but
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
It do be like that.
It do be like that.
Not sometimes, all the time.
Yeah.
So let's just do a really brief recap. We released update 17.1 today, with a lot of fixes because our minor updates are focused on fixes, but we did add some new arenas for elimination. So there are 2 new arenas for Miran in elimination. We added some double XP indicators and some new loot sources for electronics. So the rest of it's been some fixes, tweaks, and changes. So we hope that you have a look at our changelog. It's on our website. It's actually at the same page, in the same page of update 17.0's changelog. You're just gonna have to scroll down a little bit. And we also released an interesting new awesome, like, I want to do jazz hands, but no. Yeah. Music video featuring the track that was in the Malediction trailer. So check it out. It's available on YouTube. We've shared it on our social media as well.
And it should be coming to streaming platforms as well soon.
Yes, soon. Okay, we'll
cool.
definitely share it
Yes.
once we get to it. But yeah, when we wrap up the stream, we'll play the music video, and then that will be the end of the stream. So before we go, do you guys have any goodbye wishes for our Outlanders before we end the stream? Yeah, you
okay.
go first.
You go first.
Just go first.
No, you.
Don't tell me what to do.
This is going well, guys. No, I mean, yeah, as usual, like, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed the 17.1 update. It's not a major update, so there's not a whole lot of new stuff, but there is new stuff. So have fun with that. And yeah, keep an eye out. There's a lot more stuff coming, hopefully soon, and hopefully we'll be able to share some more details on that. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, see you in the Outlands.
Yes, Tony? Some
yeah, like, thanks for the support, guys. You're amazing. We love you. We value your feedback. Just be patient for the good stuff to come, because we're all working really, really hard on it. Trust us when we say it. We don't take it lightly when we promise you better improvements, better things to come in the game. So just be patient with us. Keep supporting us, and we'll keep supporting you. And just, yeah, love all around.
Cute. Alright, thank you so much for stopping by. Here's the music video. We'll see you in the Outlands. Bye!
Bye-bye!